Hey, good morning. Let's talk about bowel function. I try to keep this as light as I can because, some of these topics tend to be a little heavy, and let's face it, every family I know can always get a lot of mileage out of bodily functions, and constipation seems to top the charts continually, okay? So I make light of it um, not to be destructive in any way, but just because we all go through it, and we all just kind of from time to time have experienced a little bit of sluggishness, or in worst case scenario some lockdown, which is never a pleasant experience. But in terms of the large intestine, let's just kind of dissect quickly what its function is, and it'll help work backward in terms of what it needs to function optimally or even properly for some people to begin with, right? Because what happens is, in our Western society with our food choices, we have diminished significantly the amount of soluble and insoluble or crude fiber that's in our diet. And as a result, we're paying heavy penalties in the bowel area. Because some patients have come in, many patients have come in for years, and they've said, hey, I celebrate having one bowel movement a week or two bowel movements a week. And it's so far from what normal regularity is, it's not even funny. What goes in must come out. So if you're eating 3 meals a day, you should be moving your bowels three times a day. If you get twice a day, that's still pretty good. Once a day, I celebrate with my patients because constipation is such a problem. If a patient is regular once a day, I still celebrate with them because that's a big deal. Because if you go every other day, every third day, every fourth day, not normal, right? Bowels, that's not normal, despite whatever you hear. I mean, think about it this way. I grew up on a dairy farm. We had cows, right? I never saw a constipated cow. Why? What are the basics of it? The basics of it are fiber. That's huge. So what you're eating can either move you or plug you, right? It can facilitate normal bowel function, or it can just congest you. And congested bodies turn into sick bodies. So what goes in must come out. The pH of your large intestine needs to be in the 5.5 range, 5.5. 7 is neutral, 1 is very acidic, 14 is very alkaline, 5.5, just off of neutral, is an optimal pH for the large intestine. Now, what happens many times is our pH either goes too high or too low, many times too high, and that causes a form of dysbiosis. And that leads to bowel irregularity, sluggishness. So how do we rectify this? How do we come back from sluggish bowel? Well, first of all, you have to make sure your fiber content is up. Soluble fiber, that which dissolves, obviously, in fluids. Insoluble and crude fiber, that which doesn't dissolve. That does a lot of the scraping, if you will. Sorry how far. It's not going to be graphic, but it'll be a little bit raw. And then your minerals. Why are minerals important? Because your smooth muscle that moves the intestine to evacuate, that has to be in place. If it's depleted, you're just not going to have good function. It can cause distension or a widening of it, and that just makes more room for impaction and backup. So you have to have those pieces in place. The pH has to be around 5.5. The minerals have to be high, particularly magnesium, zinc. Those two especially mitigate a lot of enzymatic reactions in our body, but magnesium especially for what? Smooth muscle contraction. Fiber in place, and then let's talk about bugs last. Bugs are your probiotics. So you can have good bacteria and you can have bad. The good is supposed to keep the bad in check. If you're overrun with bad, then you're going to have bloating, flatulence, foul smelling gas, right? All of that wonderful stuff that we talk about around the Thanksgiving dinner table. So what is a easy solution? Something like this right here. This is a complex that contains both. This has both prebiotic inulin in it, and it also have probiotics. The probiotics are just a fancy name. It's a title for different type of bacteria that break your food down so you have complete digestion. Part of that also is the source of antibody formation in your body. So the walls of your intestines form antibodies. If you've got them caked with backed up fecal matter, you're not going to have a strong immune system in someone who has regularity because it's being blocked. So those are the main legs or pillars of normal bowel function. Huge problem in this country. I run into it on a daily basis, almost back to back. And that's why I'm doing this video. You have to have the proper environment for the support of the growth and maintenance of your gut flora, that's your bacteria. Prebiotic inulin is a perfect way to support that. It'll all support a normal pH. Your food has to be in the right place. You have to have the fiber. Never seen a constipated cow, right? And then you have to have hydration, because if you're walking around dehydrated, the function of the colon, in addition to antibody formation, is resorption of electrolytes, minerals, and water. That's why your stool normally should be formed and not loose and running, because it helps your body reclaim water and preserve hydration. I hope this video was helpful. Listen, you don't have to see me for this. You can come in and get this from Tanya. If you're a nutrition response testing patient, of course I can dose you, give you proper dosing. If you're just a general patient that is not a nutrition response testing patient, then you can come in and follow the instruction on the bottle and dosage on the bottle, and it should be just fine. All right. If you have any questions, you have my email address. It's drtimothyderus@gmail.com. Don't hesitate to email me 24/7. If you email me at 3:30 in the morning, I'm not going to respond to you before 5:30. Have a great day. Talk to you soon. Bye.